Battery change. So, two kinds of berries, one a gift and one expensively bought. Actually, unwittingly, I was confused about the price, I guess. In any case. And vanilla ice cream. I just thought somehow vanilla ice cream would make it pleasant combination, and it did. The thing is that it feels like, until that moment, I would have nothing to do with fruit and ice cream together. Now, chocolate and nuts is what goes with ice cream. And there's an interesting connection to ancient history in that my father, Daddy, would periodically buy a 2.5 gallon or something a huge ice cream container, put it in the freezer, and each container had one flavor. And it turns out that it was either Butter-Pecan, my favorite, and black raspberry, Carlene's favorite, my sister, big sister. So I can just see that in some peculiar psychological sense that my favorite had to compete with her favorite. My favorite was nuts with ice cream. Her favorite was fruit with ice cream. Nah. Could it be that I would have such a, not a phobia, but just a prejudgment against fruit and ice cream together? But chocolate's pretty necessary, so that doesn't compute in that little bit there. But it just struck me as kind of cute that I enjoyed this mix, this berries and cream mix. The alternative would have probably just been sugar. So, it seemed like the coldness of the ice cream and somehow creaminess, maybe it would be okay. And it was very nice. It's something that I think Gabi would like, and just recognize that there's a prejudgment for me based perhaps in some sense, partly at least, on this competition between my favorite Butter-Pecan and Carlene's favorite black raspberry. So, we could have one or the other, so it just kind of, it must have alternated a couple times at least. Like, hey, Daddy, how about Butter-Pecan? Whatever. Anyway, could that, really be that particular bias in me, which persists basically, but has been kind of crossed over into a pleasantness of, despite my prejudice, the two berries and ice cream together. Celebrating on the one hand a gift, and on the other hand a departure. and an overpriced. I thought they were cheaper. Bunch of blueberries. My mouth is very needing a little sip of water. So I've had my 2 croissants for breakfast. So I've already got a cigarette prepared here. That's great. And an untold wealth of lighters. Every week or so, I will buy a stick, as it were, a carton, except there's no carton. Oh, low battery already again. And I didn't put the last one on the charger yet. Oh my goodness. But there's 2 supposedly charged batteries left. Anyway, I'm planning to repeat the berries and ice cream treat sometime in the near future. The berries are in the fridge, resting quietly for perhaps a day or so. What else shall I say? So I've had my breakfast of 2 croissants, and I experimented. I've been using a butter knife to peel off thin sections of butter to apply to the bitten edge of the croissant, so that I butter my butter croissants. Anyway, I actually tried something new, which was, instead of the butter knife I had been using, for some reason it just felt right that I should be using a butter knife to peel off sections of butter to put on my croissant or whatever. Yeah, basically that's what it's used for. And today I used my sharp knife. I have a set of tools that I prefer to keep available. A small fork, sharp knife, 2 sizes of spoons, butter knife, pretty much. Sometimes a standard fork, sometimes a tablespoon. Anyway, especially important is a fork and a sharp knife. And today I tried out peeling butter sections for my croissant, and I found that after the first, I think, then I went on to the second and used the sharp knife, and it worked beautifully. It worked more easily and beautifully with less pressure and whatever I can think of than the butter knife. So the butter knife becomes superfluous. The butter knife is dull. It doesn't have a steel blade. It's just a piece of silver-plated whatever metal they are made of from my mother's heirloom set of cutlery, of which some are used, though I generally prefer stainless steel over, well, the knives of her set are stainless, but I prefer other things. Her knives are not very sharp, and I'm not going to sharpen them. I have this heirloom chest containing what I'm not using of, containing her silverware set that was used basically for Christmas and Thanksgiving and Easter maybe, and, you know, kind of family get-togethers, especially after my sister grew up and married and moved away. Or throughout that process, or whatever. And yeah, Carlene was sort of a civilizing influence, with bringing a little bit of Frenchness somehow and wine drinking to the family celebration table in the dining room. Anyway, that's when this cutlery was used in the dining room, when there were enough people getting together to make it worth dining in the dining room. Anyway, so I still, part of my baggage in life is this wooden box, so, so thick and whatever, that supports her collection of cutlery, which, God willing, I would never live beyond, or what, I don't know what the hell I was going to say subconsciously, but just staring at the low battery symbol off to the right there. I was up very early this morning. Another habit that I shifted was that immediately on taking my 10 o'clock p.m. Evening pill set of 3, I lay down, put on my CPAP mask, a pressure machine that makes sure that my airways remain open and that I don't snore or apnea or whatever it is. Anyway, basically preventing possibly deadly results of my sleeping without it, but I haven't had any. I often do fall asleep for half an hour or an hour or two, because basically it doesn't make any difference. So I slept from, as it were, mostly slept, and used the CPAP machine. That's what I was trying to say. Constant positive air pressure. So I'm pressurized when I sleep. So it reported that I had used it for 9 hours at 7 a.m. when I finally disconnected and got up and started my day, which is unusually early for me, theoretically. But it's, actually, in a sense, the issue is to exploit my freedom and be free, which, when I'm here alone, I am totally free, so to speak. And that, you could say, decides the issue of free will. Or as some say, free won't. After all, let's call it the machinery of the mind, has to come up with an image, in some sense, of what could be done. And that could be like a prefiguring of whatever, deeper in the brain, preparation for a movement pattern. Whatever. Without the presentation of the possibility, the supervisor up here could not decide between that and what. So there's that, and then the outcome, the potential outcome of that is examined, and either that pattern proceeds or not. And if not, if we're not deeply into a pattern, then anyway, I'm just speculating. And starting another cigarette really this soon. Oh. Battery on charge. That was a timely issue. You know, I still see that damn low battery symbol on the right-hand lower side of the screen. I guess this is kind of a stream of, well, consciousness and unconsciousness. Haven't done this for maybe even a few weeks, I don't know. I'm getting near the end of a novel in which the good guys have got to find the nuclear devices planted around the Temple of the Rock or something in Jerusalem, aimed at starting World War III, where Christianity will rule the universe or something, I don't know. Anyway, I just put it on hold. It's on my Kindle, so I just turned it off. To take a break from the tense situation where the whole world will go up in nuclear flames if they don't find it now, before it goes off. Da-da-da-da. Interesting. Yeah. I think it even has a little bit of dopamine. Anyway, reading for entertainment. It's theoretically portable, and somehow it's more pleasant to read from, the black on white. For me, I save power by, though not turning it off, by reducing the illumination to near zero, which must take much more energy from the battery than anything else when it's static, when it's just sitting there. Fantastic stuff, this electronic ink. Over 300 books on this thing, and some of those are multiples, like the works of Charles Dickens. But anyway, oh yeah, it could get closer, yes. My most earth-shaking decisions are usually in the culinary area, like, what shall I eat next? Sometimes there's Pflichtessen, then I know what I have to eat next one way or another. fairly often, yeah. Leftovers. At the moment, there's like quite a bit of chicken liver in liquid, which liquid is destined to become glass noodles in the future when we're down low in the chicken liver portion. And I look forward to that. They're cooked in water with a little Hühnerbrühe, fake chicken soup, and a little salt. Wow. Oof. Ain't never done that before, I think. Not that I remember. Just knocked a glowing ash onto the floor, which is cheap worn out carpet to protect the vinyl tiles underneath. Oh, wow, 21 minutes and still low battery. Anyway, I saved it. I squished it out with the rest of the cigarette. Ay. Maybe I'll go back to World War III. Namaste. Salam. Shalom. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Ooh, shit. Peace be with you, brother.